Write in your own words two or more sentences of what you understand by the word marginalization. Answer. The word marginalization refers to a situation in which an individual or a group of individuals is deprived of certain privileges or treated as different from others. Marginalization can be experienced in every sphere. Several factors are there which make certain groups in society feel marginalized. These factors are economic, social, cultural, and political. Question. List two reasons why Adivasis are becoming increasingly marginalized. Answer. Adivasis love to lead their life in their own way without any interference from others. They usually resist changes or new ideas. Question 3. Write one reason why you think the Constitution safeguards to protect minority communities are very important. Answer. The Constitution safeguards to protect because they are numerically small in relation to the rest of the population and therefore they may be dominated by the majority communities. Question. Reread the section on minorities and marginalization. What do you understand by the term minority? Answer. The term minority refers to communities which are numerically smaller in relation to the rest of the population. Question. You are participating in debate where you have to provide reasons to support the following statement. Muslims are a marginalized community. Using the data provided in this chapter, list two reasons that you would give. Answer. Two reasons. Muslims are deprived of basic amenities such as water, electricity, etc. They have little access to education. Question. Imagine that you are watching the Republic Day parade on TV with a friend and she remarks, "Look at these tribals, they look so exotic and they seem to be dancing all the time." These three things that you would tell her about the lives of Adivasis in India. Answer. Three things about the lives of Adivasis in India. They love to wear colorful dresses. They are very close to forests. They have their own languages. Santali is one of them. Question. In the storyboard, you read about how Helen hopes to make a movie on the Adivasi story. Can you help her by developing a short story on Adivasis? Answer. Adivasi live in close association with forest. They earn their livelihood through forest. They love to live in their traditional style, unaware of the developments of the present world. They usually resist changes or new ideas. Their life is very simple and they want very limited things since they are very close to nature. They enjoy a very healthy life. Dancing is an important part of their life. They love to dance collectively on festive occasions. But new developments disturbed their life. They got displaced as a result of which they lost their access to forest. This created the problem of livelihood among them. They ultimately migrated to cities where they got engaged in local industries or at the building or construction sites to earn low wages. In cities, they are bound to live a very hard life. Question. Would you agree with the statement that economic and social marginalization are interlinked and why? Answer. Yes, I do agree with the statement because economic condition of a man affects his social status. His social recognition is assessed by his economic base. Short answer type questions. How many different Adivasi groups are there in India? There are over 500 different Adivasi groups in India. Question. Name any four states where Adivasis are in great numbers. Answer. Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha. Question. How are Adivasi societies most distinctive? Give 1 point. Answer. There is often very little hierarchy among them. Question. How are Adivasis usually portrayed? Answer. They are usually portrayed in stereotypical ways in colorful clothes, headgear, and through their dancing. Question. What do we usually think about Adivasis? Answer. We usually think that Adivasis are exotic, primitive, and backward. Question. How is Niyamgiri viewed by Dongaria Konda? Answer: Dongaria Konda and Adivasi community view Niyamgiri as the sacred mountain. Question: why are Muslims considered as a marginalized community in India today? Answer: it is because, in comparison to other communities, they have always been deprived of the benefits of socio-economic development. Question: how are Muslims usually identified? Answer: Muslims are usually identified by their burqa, long beard, and face. Question: which factor leads to ghettoization of Muslim community? Answer: social marginalization of Muslims leads to ghettoization of the community. Question: what is commonly believed about the Muslims? Answer: it is commonly believed that the Muslims prefer to send their children to madrasas. Question: what reality is brought in light by the Sachar committee? Answer: only 4% of Muslim children are in madrasas, whereas 66% attend government schools and 30% private schools. Short answer questions. What do you know about Adivasis? Answer: the term Adivasi means original inhabitant. This community has close relation with forest. They depend on forest for everything. They cannot think a life without forest. About 8 to 6% of India's population is Adivasi. Adivasis are 8.6% of India's population and are considered to be a marginalized community. Adivasis are found in states like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Maharashtra, Assam, Manipur, etc. There are over 500 different Adivasi groups in our country. Only in Odisha, there are more than 60 different tribal groups. Adivasi societies are most distinctive because there is often very little hierarchy among them. They practice their own tribal religions, different from Islam, Hinduism, and Christianity. They have their own languages, which are as old as Sanskrit. Santhali is one of the language which has the largest number of speakers. Question: how are Adivasis stereotyped? Answer: whenever we talk about Adivasis, their fixed image comes into our mind. We have a fixed impression about them. We believe that they are exotic, primitive, and backward. Their colorful costumes, headgear, dancing, and typical lifestyle often give an impression that they lack advancement. We also believe that they are resistant to change or new ideas. This stereotyping about the Adivasi community leads to their discrimination and marginalization. Question: describe various reasons that forced Adivasis to move from their lands. Answer: various reasons are given as below. More than 50% of Adivasis got displaced due to mines and mining projects. Huge tracts of Adivasis lands have gone under the waters of hundreds of dams that have been built in independent India. In the northeast, their lands remain highly militarized and war torn. India has a large forest area where tribals originally lived but were evicted from. Question: what happened to Adivasis when they lost access to their traditional homelands? Answer: after Adivasis lost access to their traditional homelands, that is forest, they became pampers. They faced the problems of livelihood and food. Hence, they migrated to cities in search of work. They got employment there, but against very low wages. This made their life miserable. They caught in a cycle of poverty and deprivation. 45% of tribal groups in rural areas and 35% in urban areas live below the poverty line. Their children became malnourished in dearth of adequate food. Question: describe marginalization in context of Adivasi and Muslim communities. Adivasi community. In the pre-colonial period, Adivasi ruled the forest areas. They were hunter-gatherers and nomads living by shifting agriculture and also cultivating in one place. But as the development and urbanization took place, forests were cleared off. This affected the life of Adivasis badly. They had to migrate to cities in search of work. They also lost their power. They were now marginalized. Now they had to work in plantations, at construction sites, in industries, and as domestic workers. They had no longer direct access to forest. They lost their domain and were compelled to lead a very miserable life in the cities. Their children are malnourished, they have no access to education. Muslim community. Muslims are considered to be marginalized community in India today because in comparison to other communities they have always been deprived of the benefits of socio-economic development. Most of the Muslims do not avail basic amenities like water, electricity. They are bound to live in kacha houses. There is a little education among them. They have little access to public employment. Other factors that make them marginalized are their customs and practices. Some, not all Muslims may wear a burqa, sport a long beard, wear a face, and these become ways to identify all Muslims. Because of this, they tend to be identified differently. Often, this becomes an excuse to treat them unfairly and discriminate against them. Question: who are minorities? How are they safeguarded by Indian Constitution? Answer: minorities refer to such communities which are numerically less than half of the population of the country. They should be protected so that they can preserve their culture and heritage. Article 29 and Article 30 of Indian Constitution provide safeguard to the minorities. Article 29 of the Constitution describes a citizen of the country residing in any part of India having a distinct language, script, or culture of its own shall have the right to conserve the same. No citizen shall be denied admission into any educational institution maintained by the state receiving aid out of state funds on grounds of religion, race, caste, or language. Article 30 of the Constitution says all minorities in the country, whether based on religion or language, shall have the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. In granting aid, the state shall not discriminate against any educational institution managed by a minority. The right under this article also includes the right of a minority to import education to its children in its own language.